Hello? There we go. Dumbass in 3, 2, 1. I like in a second I looked at the chat. I'm there rambling to myself like oh, that's hilarious. It's just one of those days. It's just one of those days. So like there was no was there not like you couldn't hear me singing or anything? Could you hear me singing? Could you hear the intro? And then it just went off? That's weird. That's super weird. Is that what happened? Yeah, when you switched from Myro? So you could hear me sing? No audio, bro. I guess today is a mimingu. Oh, that's hilarious. That's weird. So my audio wasn't off the whole time. That's fucking weird. Piano. Oh, right. Song, yes, you know. Oh, that's hilarious. I literally just sang the whole fucking intro for no reason. That's hilarious. It probably would have been. It probably would have been even funnier if I had the camera on me instead of Myro. Oh fuck! I'm just not with it today. I didn't go to bed till like 3 a.m. and I'm just tired. Like I'm just fucking like don't have the energy today. Like, but I'll get there. I'll wake up in a bit. Hopefully. I seriously need. I think I need to stop drinking coffee. I've been drinking coffee for fucking years. And I've been smoking for years. I think it's finally time. I'm 33 now, you know. I'm officially Illuminati. I think it's time to like start just like not doing stuff and see how my body reacts. I wouldn't be surprised if I had a full on like panic attack or something after like 3 days of no caffeine cigarettes. My fucking nervous system just start vibrating on a different level, like just like that fucking was Archer saying. There's one of the episodes of Archer where there's like somebody says to him where he's like, "You should probably stop drinking," and he's like, "Well, I haven't stopped. One of the main reasons I haven't stopped drinking is because I think the collective or the accumulative hangover will kill me." Mushroom water. Is that a suggestion, Griff? Test your willpower, brother. Ah, yeah, I know. Like it's been a while since I gave myself a proper test of willpower. I've become quite complacent in the last few years, because I've just been trying to focus on like, you know, being productive and trying to stay healthy in other ways and stuff like working out and trying to like, you know, not eat a load of shite. And I say that, but the last like what 2-3 days I've been fucking I've been annihilating those cookies that the female made for me, and they're unreal. Like the cookies she made are so fucking good, man. And the cake she made for me is beautifully moist chocolate with like fresh cream and all. It was fucking delicious. Like going off caffeine for a week hurt me physically. Like what? Like what? You have to like. You can't just say that. You have to go deeper. Like, hurt me physically. In what way? Like, just get headaches, all that jazz. Like, I've gone without caffeine and cigarettes, like separately at different times for like a few days or like several days. And it's weird how it's like I don't feel like it's necessarily my willpower. I think my problem is that I like, and then you can make the argument that it's like your mind making you think that you like it, so you'll keep doing it. But like I think I use stuff like that as like a routine crutch kind of thing, where it's just I've been doing it for so long, I just do it. It's just habitual. Like so, then when I don't do it, I find myself like having that like ADHD style like autism whatever response where it's like, well, what do I do now? And then I have to like invent things to like keep myself like one thing I tried when I stopped trying to smoke, or I tried stopping smoking. I don't know, maybe like 6 years ago now, or 7 years ago now, or some shit. Um, and for like 4 days, I was just like annihilating pistachio nuts. It was hilarious. I just started annihilating bags of pistachio nuts. Like it was fucking like it was every couple of minutes. Like, do you know what I mean? Just had these little bags, like things you get in a garage or something. Like, and they're fucking expensive as well. Like, um, I'm just texting. I'm just texting the female here. Give me 2 seconds. Um, there we go. But like, I just like I really think that's my main issue. Like bless Denmark Bear for sending me that fucking that powder protein stuff and all. Like, and it was fucking delicious. I loved it and all. Like, and I destroyed it in a matter of weeks. Um, but like yeah, I didn't put any weight on. Like, really, not any noticeable amount of poundage or anything. Like, um, and it was just kind of like, oh, like there's been a few times where I'm like slightly demoralized about the fact that like pistachios are a more expensive habit. Yeah, like it's fucking like they're actually crazy expensive. Tobacco's crazy expensive here now as well. Uh, what was I saying there? I can't even remember. I'm not with it today. Like, definitely not enough sleep, and and it's funny though, because I went for a walk earlier, like up to the hills, because I seen that the sun was like proper out for the first time in a few days. Like, it was gorgeous looking out. Like, and when I was on the walk, it's probably just the injection of vitamin D that I haven't gotten in a while. Where I was just like, oh my god, like what a beautiful day. Like, do you know what I mean? There's like frost on the grass on the golf course and shit, and like the sun was just beaming through the clouds, and it was like a big huge space with just beautiful blue sky, and it's like crisp. It's like 3-4 degrees or some shit. Like, um, it was intense looking. All the different colors, like with all the different trees, like, got some of the evergreens, so it's like that beautiful, like all these greens and bright greens, dark greens, mid greens, like dull greens, these kind of like yellowy greens and stuff, and then you got all browns, reds, and oranges and all. Like, it's just like beautiful looking. Like, and then the flowers and shit. Like, crazy scenery around here. Like, with there's a mountain range, or like fucking big hills. They're not mountains. Called the Galties, right? Like a few kilometers away. You can see them from my gaff and all, like from the house. Especially when you're up, because my back garden like rises. You have to like walk up into it and shit. And then it's also at an incline where it goes up to the tree at the back. Like, so if you go up to the tree at the back of my garden, it's like you can see like straight over the house and all, like for a good, like, I'd say like couple of meters. In terms of like your horizon line or whatever, so you can see like parts of the town, and you just see these like hills, Irish mountains. It's like, it's the difference between a mountain and an Irish mountain. An Irish mountain is a hill. It's beautiful around here. It really is. Like, I think because I'm just like tired today, I was like, I was like, fuck it, I need to go for a walk and like get some of that cold air on my face and like wake myself up. And I seen the sun was out and all. I was like, oh yeah, like, I'll go out and get a bit of sun and all, like, because I do spend a lot of time inside. Like, it's the nature of being, not only like being a gamer for years, but now I'm trying to be a fucking independent professional artist. So I spend an incredible amount of time just like indoors, drawing, painting, and so on and so forth. Like, so it is important to like get outside. But that's the thing, isn't it? It's like when the cold weather comes in, it's like the last thing you want to do sometimes. Like you should. The fucking temperature in our bedroom this morning was so low. Didn't even want to get out of the bed. Like, and never mind the bathroom. Like, our bathroom may as well be a fucking outhouse. It's crazy. It's so fucking cold. Like, it's like a fucking massive plume of steam coming off me piss in the morning. Like, it's like crazy cold. Like, I've been thinking of switching a drink. What, like, so you're gonna try mushroom tea? I just felt a nagging pain in my back and neck throughout the week. Oh, I already have back pain. That's the last thing I need right now. My nervous system's that, like I've said it like a few times, like I've thought about it like several times over the last few years. I'm like, I think I suffer from a little bit of like chronic fatigue, and it's probably because of like the years of smoking weed and fucking um caffeine, like, do you know what I mean? And then like for years I had like a high sugar intake and fuck, like I'm so thankful and blessed that I don't have like any glaring health issues, like, because I like fucking abuse the shit out of my body in so many ways, like. um think of the savings. You just don't know what mountains are. Yeah, like I agree. Like, do you know what I mean? And like it's hilarious because like fucking other people, like other Irish people, would be like, "What are you on about? It's the fucking like." And like I was saying the same. Like even when we went on a hike with the some of the bears and all, um, up like it was up those things that like outside my house, like the Galties. It's beautiful, even though it was like you couldn't see shit and it was pissing rain. Like it was gas, but it was fucking awesome. Um, like there was people come, like there was like a river coming down the thing as we were walking up because it was raining and it was like sopping wet and shit. Like we picked like the the worst day to go in terms of like being able to see stuff and like enjoy like nice weather and like, you know, go up at like a nice slow pace and all that shit. Like, but in terms of like a challenging hike, you know, because it wasn't a climb. That was my point. Like people were like, "This, they're mountains. They're the Galtee Mountains and all." It's like it's not a fucking mountain. Like we're walking up it. You know, a mountain is like something you climb. A mountain is like something if you need to like get up it or over it or whatever, or even around some parts of it, you need to climb some shit. But like the stuff we have is like like the stuff we have is not fucking. They're not mountains. They're just big hills. They're just large hills. You know, just big steep inclines covered in grass, moss, rocks, and stuff and all like that. And they're beautiful looking. Like, do you know what I mean? The way some of the valleys that are created and shit. Like, I can't remember that place where we were in. I was in a place recently, beginning with D or something, like a few months ago, and the fucking, was it Doohill or Dural? I can't remember. Looked like something out of fucking Lord of the Rings, you know, with the hobbits and all, like something out that you'd see like coming out of the Shire. You know, it wasn't like a flat land of grass. It was just like these two hills like intersecting, creating a valley. Like, and it was fucking epic looking. Like, you know, and it's big. You know, like it is big, but it's not like you just can tell. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like I've seen some shit in real life. I can't remember vaguely, but it was in like, what was I in Lanzarote, Malta, Tenerife. Like I remember seeing like in real life like large mountains in the distance, but not like up close. And then you see all the stuff on telly, and you're like, especially being an artist and stuff like that, you can tell, like, you know, if something this, if a person is like this size beside the backdrop of this thing, it's like, holy shit, that fucking thing is huge. Um, so I just know that like the things we have here aren't that large, but it doesn't mean that like when you're walking up them and like when we walked up the Galties and we hiked up the Galties together and all, like I was saying, there was people, there was like this one guy in particular who was like coming down and like we're like wading up into water and shit, like that was like just above your ankle deep, like, and it was like rushing down and all, so you had to mind your footing, like, so just like walking through a river basically, like, and this guy's coming down with like, you know, them hiking sticks and like full gear and all, like, and one of the guys we had with us was just in a short. Shout out to fucking I can't even remember his bear name now because he doesn't really go by it, like, um I always see him on Instagram as like Sunny Spells, like fucking. He's a gas character. One of the like bears in our group is like he's an absolute. He's so Irish, you know. Plays like folk music. Yeah, that's what he's called. Fucking folk Mooney. Real sound bloke. He came over with the lads for my birthday last year, and he was just wearing a fucking shirt, like absolute legend. Like he's wild. Like um, coffee's not bad for you unless you overdrink. Yeah, it's like everything else. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's still a few things in my life that I use as like. Well, I wouldn't say actively use as a crutch. It's more like I've realized that that's what they are. You know, that's what they've become subconsciously as a form of habit. They're just habitual. Like, because I've had loads of days where like, you know, I'm like no coffee today. You know, but they're like sparse and like inconsistent and intermittent and stuff like that. Like I am getting to a stage now. Like I had a feeling this would happen. It's like I'm gonna turn 33 and I'm gonna have like a load of things just like come into my head where I'm like, right, it's time to stop doing this, and this. It's just time now. And that's one of the things is like I'm just gonna start drinking like a hell of a lot more water now. Like I do drink water, but I don't drink enough. I drink way too much coffee. Um, Still, even though what I used to drink was like way, I would not like I would legit like big cups of coffee, like not like a mug of coffee, like the big or not a cup of coffee, like big mugs, big coffee mug of coffee. Some I like for years I was putting like 2 scoops in, and I'd have like 4 of them throughout the day, and I had like I'd get like it'd start stinging when I was like taking a piss and stuff, like because I'm just so acidic, because I'm just like flushing myself, because it like it do like it is it's like a fucking diuretic, and like it like it evacuates your bowels and all, like that's why it's dead handy in the morning to not only like wake you up, but like it gets everything moving and stuff. But when you're drinking it every morning, all the time for years, like like when you're doing stuff for years, um, it's mad how the human body, like depending on who you are and your genetic makeup and stuff, like you can go such long periods of time with doing something, and like you don't really notice any negative effects, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're like, oh, why do I feel weird, or why do I feel all shit all of a sudden? And you just start to pay attention. Just start to pay attention to what you're doing like every day and all. And I'm like, man, I'm just fucking like running myself into the ground in so many ways. Like I've suffered from burnout like so many times this year in particular. This year in particular, like the last 2 or 3 years, I had a like really solid year where I put on like a stone, and I was working out like all the time, and I was eating like chicken and potatoes and steak and broccoli, like fucking all the fucking time, like. And then I just get these like waves of inconsistency where like I start eating more like cheap handy frozen foods and stuff to just like eat something, and then like go back to what I need to do or whatever, and find myself like needing like a nap, like hours, like only a few hours after I wake up, just having these waves of tiredness, like. And I'd say it's like definitely because it's like my body is like, I'm used to having way more caffeine than this, like what's going on, like and I've heard that like caffeine like blocks certain things. It's like an inhibitor of certain things. So if you drink coffee like right after you wake up, when the caffeine wears off, you're gonna have an even more of a severe drop. So like sometimes it really fucks me, like today in particular, like when I got back from that walk, I was like, whew, I need to go to bed. I was exhausted, like. That's the crack, Iron Mine Bear. Come here and I'll show you some real mountain ranges. Yeah, I'd love to see. I'd love to see the Himalayas. I'd love to go to Tibet and like get one of them Sherpa niggas to like help me like hike up one of them fucking Tibetan temple step things that has like fucking 10,000 steps in it or something. Like I'd love to do that, like fucking in a blizzard, like, do you know what I mean? It'd be fucking epic, like. It'd be rough, obviously, like, do you know what I mean? It'd be fucking rough, like, in various ways, like freezing cold, physically, like, challenging. If you've never done something like that before, um, it'd be unpleasant in various ways, like. But part of me would love to do it, like, cause it'd just be like epic. Like I'd love to go on a safari, even though I don't necessarily agree with the whole like like I don't think, like, you see all these fucking Egypts. It's funny, like Paul from Pockets of the Future, um, he did that video of that fucking retard of a woman who was like trying to get real close to, like, what was it, like an American bison or some shit, and she's trying to take selfies and all for her fucking Instagram or something. It's like, bitch, this thing's gonna kill you. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, This is gonna look so good in my profile. It's like, what the fuck? Like, and the thing gets up and moves, and she like shits herself. Like, it's like we are running like we're running the risk of like being so like soft and like domesticated and like just detached from like reality. Like, do you know what I mean? That like like people are some people are just so far gone, and like now when I see stuff like that where you just have this like absolute gobshite trying to get as close as possible to like essentially like a huge wild animal that is like weighs in at the same tonnage as like a fucking semi or something, like, do you know what I mean? Just like hundreds of pounds of meat and really thick bone and then like huge thick hide and horns and all. Like, it's like this bitch just walks up to this thing. Oh, you get a photo of the bison, like, just like party is hoping that she gets murked, like, do you know what I mean? Like, party is hoping that she gets like absolutely fucking throttled, just so you can be like, see, there you go, like fucking well deserved, like, do you know. It's crazy. People are far too comfortable now. Um, I suppose you could just end that sentence there. Like, people are far too comfortable now. Like I was saying yesterday about the whole suffering thing. Like, you know, like I've been thinking in my mind for like fucking days now. I'm like, I haven't done a proper workout to where I'm like sweating buckets and my muscles are sore. You know, in maybe like what, maybe like over a week or something now. And like I have to stop doing that. Like I'll fucking get one, like I'll do a really solid workout, and I'm like, oh yeah, like hit all the major muscle groups, get a good sweat going, get some nice deep stretch, fucking movements in there. Like, and I'll like I've got like loads of knots and like pockets of like nitrogen or whatever you want to call it. Like sometimes it feels like my left shoulder's dislocated because it's like so off and there's like so much tension in it, like rounded shoulders and a bit of nerd neck and all this crap. Like, and I'll like remedy all of that in like an hour, you know, or at least that's what it feels like. You know, you hear all these pops and clicks, and like you feel like blood rushing into certain muscles again. Like I've sciatica, where like I can't like I've a load of numbness down my left side. Like I can't feel my left ass cheek or parts of my back. Been like that for years. Um, I think it's because I did kickboxing for a few years and Thai boxing and all this stuff, and then I just stopped. And then I just sat on my ass playing video games. So all of those muscles that I had like worked out and built up and accrued and made flexible and all this shit for like 4 years or something, just like atrophied and sat around and like, you know, started to develop like, you know, bad. I don't know what the term is, but it's like when certain parts of your body start compensating for other parts of your body being weak, and that's how you develop like poor posture and like, you know, anterior tilt in your pelvis and all this stuff. Like, and over the last several years, I've tried to like, you know, slowly but surely remedy all that. And I get days where I feel like a fucking Spartan, like dips, pull ups, fucking. Apologies if you can hear the steamroller outside matting the fucking tarmac into the road. Like, what do you guys call it? AstroTurf, or is it fucking? I can't remember. We call it tarmac, don't you? Asphalt. That's what you guys call it, isn't it? Fucking black tar. Um, you ever come for a? Oh, hold on. Where am I? Come here now. I'm on a hill in the foothills of the Smoky Mountains. I'd say some of the views you have are unfucking believable, Margie. You ever come over for a visit? I will take you to Jasper and Banff. I love it when places have hilarious names in the Rockies. The Rocky Mountains. I've seen pictures of the Rocky Mountains and all. They look incredible. I sip on coffee all day, but only like 2 cups. I've heard that's the way to do it, actually. Is like sip on coffee, like a cup of coffee throughout the day. I see this guy, this little Asian. I say Asian. He's like more like Polynesian. He looks like he's from Hawaii. You know, he's one of them like. But he could definitely pass for like Vietnamese or Chinese or something, like, or looks like a half breed. You know, like one of them half breeds. Um, really cool channel though. Hybrid Calisthenics. What's his fucking name? Hampton. Yeah, solid fucking calisthenics channel. He's been around for years now. Um, he said that he just said the same thing where he drinks coffee every other day. So like if he drinks it Monday, he's not going to drink it Tuesday, and then he'll drink it Wednesday. And the way he drinks it is he makes a cup in the morning and then sips on that throughout the day until it's gone. Like I fucking hate drinking cold coffee though. It's disgusting. But that's because I'm a bitch, you know. Like just like there is just like there's a few ways like where like I'll like I remember seeing this clip. So fucking funny. Whereas this black lad and he goes to do various things and then there's just voice in his head goes gay, and he's like, oh fuck's sake. He goes to eat a banana. And he's like going to put it in his mouth to take a bite, and then it just goes gay, and he's like, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" Like, I can't even remember half the other shit that he does, but he's like, I think one of them was like he's like hoovering or something, or cleaning his room or something. Like I can't remember, but like he goes to do various things that are just totally normal. I was like, gay. And like I kind of get something similar to that, where um like I'll think about like, oh, I should do a workout, like, and I'll look at the time and I'll be like, have I got time? And I'm gonna do it before the stream. Fucking, can I get like, you know, some turtle sketches in or some shit like for the fucking t-shirt before I do that or whatever, and just have like, you know, I'm like trying to plan my day out, like, do you know what I mean? And then part of me would be like, oh, I don't want to go out. I don't want to. If I'm gonna do a workout, I don't want to do it out the back garden with the power tower and the bar and all, like, because it's freezing cold and it's all wet. And there's a voice in my head that's just like, you bitch. Like, and then there's like those days where I'm like, I don't have that, you know, and I'll just like put a hoodie on, go out there, crush the workout and come back in, and like I'd be like, you know, buckets of sweat even though it's like freezing cold and all, like, you know, and it's like, it's great for you, like, you know, it's great for your cardiovascular system, it's great for your mental state as well. Like, it's just a good thing to do, is to put yourself through a bit of suffering, because it does make you, it makes you stronger, and it makes, like, literally makes you stronger, like, you know. But I think it's so funny how like despite all the knowledge I've accrued and all the experience that I have over the last, like, say, like 7 years of like totally changing my life and turning everything around, I find it so funny how I can be in one moment like so grateful, and in the next moment, just like, oh man, I just want to go sleep. Like, do you know what I mean? And it's not like in a depressed way. I'm just tired. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I'm not like sad or melancholy or like, I get like every so often I get like a bit of like, oh, like that sucks. But most of the time now I'm just like laughing at stuff, or I still get annoyed at things. You know, definitely still have problems with wrath and shit like that. Um, which again is probably one of the reasons why I'm still so fucking tired. But I just thought, like, I thought it was so funny today where I'm on that walk and I'm like, the sun is shining and all the colors in the trees and stuff, and I'm like, oh man, like, I'm so happy to be alive. This place is beautiful. Look at this. It's amazing. Like, just, this day is like incredible. And then I get back from the walk and I'm like, I need a nap. Like, I'm just not looking after myself well, like in various ways, like, and it doesn't happen all the time, like you know, between like sleep, like I think that's definitely what it is today, is the major thing, is like I didn't get to bed till like 3 a.m. But sometimes I like and Demon Hunter Bear will attest to this, like sometimes I'll stay up till like 7 o'clock in the morning and then sleep for 4 hours and I'll be fine. Like, I won't feel like this. I won't be like, oh man, I'm wrecked. Like, it like catches up with me. It's like it's like there's a lag or a latency on my energy reserves, where like I could like go balls to the wall for like a week and I'll be fine and I won't feel like this, like, and then that's what it is like there comes like a Monday or a Tuesday and I'm just like, oh Jesus. Knackered, like. I used to be on the same sleep schedule as you, Defender. Once I started getting to bed before 10 p.m. and up early, everything got better for me. Man, that's what I was like before I moved here. When I was still living in my ma's and I started painting and I was selling the paintings and making money, started making money, like, I was in bed sometimes at like 9:30 and I'd wake up at like 7. And while the female was gone there, uh, back home to babysit, um, that pretty much happened. Where like I was like in bed around 11, 10, and I'd be up at like 7, 8, or before 7. And then the fucking female comes back, and it's like stupid shit. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, we'll watch like, instead of watching one episode of Lost and then we'll like turn everything off and go to sleep, we'll watch like 3 episodes, and then it's like fucking 2 in the morning. It's like, oh fuck. Like, it's just stupid shit. It's just stupid, undisciplined like shit. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, and I think that's like hilariously like a lot of like people's problems. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I think like look at us, like as far as like a Western society and all this shit. Like, we have like the whole Netflix and chill thing, and like you have all these videos of these bitches who work for Xbox who do like fuck all work, but they're constantly on Instagram showing, like the amazing food that they get for free at work, and like the amazing office they work in, and it has an amazing view, and like the fucking amazing gym that they like do fucking Pilates and yoga in at like 7 in the morning and all this fucking shit. Like, it's like, I just, the untold levels of avarice. If you don't know what avarice means, it's like, aggressive greed. I think avarice is a great word. There's some words that don't get used enough, and it's like, I think it makes a lot of sense why those words have been kind of like shooed out of the zeitgeist, because they're really great ways to like, it's like nigger. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, we can't say that. Like Voldemort. Oh, don't say nigger. Don't say nigger. Like, in any context whatsoever. It's like, fuck off. You know, it's so obvious that like various people throughout recent or long ago history have like reached these points where like no one else or few people before them have reached, and they've just monopolized the resources and stuck up a load of gates so nobody can compete with them, or if anybody wants to be involved, they have to go through them so they gain the benefits. Like, like, it's an incredibly selfish and greedy and cowardly way to be. Like, do you know what I mean? And like, it's been done lots. It's been done so much that like you have these like massive, like, you have the term too big to fail and shit like that. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, do you know, if anything, when something gets too big, it's like more likely to fail. Do you know what I mean? Like, literally almost everything that comes out of the mainstream in terms of slogans, marketing, fucking supposed expert opinions and like theories and science and all that shit, like, I'm not gonna say because I don't know, but like, I would say it's easily like 99.9% of the information, entertainment, whatever stimulation that you get from mainstream media, and even a lot of like, a not mainstream but still essentially mainstream media, is just like utter shit. Like, it's just like, it's not necessarily designed willfully and intentionally to manipulate, deceive, and like, morally break it down and make it immoral, and like put fucked up thoughts in your head and images and all this shit, and manipulate you emotionally and all these things. Like, it is done intentionally a lot, but it's not always like intentionally. It just is what it is, because that's the state of things now, because of what people have chosen before us. Like, I used to say this thing where it's like all the monkeys, like, it's like a group of monkeys in a jungle come across like a huge resource of bananas in like, just this section of the forest, and it's like two or three of them that are like scouting ahead or something. Like, do you know what I mean? And they don't tell the other group about all the bananas. Like, real simple shit that you can describe metaphorically. Like, do you know what I mean? Where it's like access to resources, greed, fucking, fucking like narcissistic behavior, like arrogance, all this shit. Like, and they've produced a situation where people have chosen to be ignorant and weak and all this crap. Like, it's really crazy and fucked up and fascinating at the same time how all this is panned out, and then to see it slightly like change over the last few years, and the pendulum is starting to swing, and like, you know, woke video games are like an absolute failure. Sony spent 400, like lost like something stupid like 400 million on that Concord game and all, like, do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's good to see those things happen where, like, you know, these like uh examples that are pretty undeniable of like, if you do this, then this happens, you know, action, consequence, action, reaction, like, and all these things. And like all the gay and woke and degenerate and fucked up and like deceitful and manipulative behavior that's been going on, like, it's quite obvious that there's like, most people, your average person is like sick to their back teeth of it, and is willing to like start growing their own food, doing their own, like, you know, TV shows, like independent media, like the amount of made by like one or two people, short sci-fi horror, short anime action thing, like, people are just making their own stuff. It's been happening for a few years now, and it's all over the place, and that's awesome to see. It's like it's not being really spoken about, but it's happening. That like, under the hood of all this like globalism and, like, you know, we're going to Mars and all this fucking bullshit, like, you know, World War III, Russia's the bad guy, like, what are the Chinese doing? Like, it's all bollocks. It's all just like, you know, like, it's called the theater of war. Like, it's hilarious. Like, do you know what I mean? When you realize that everything is a choice, like literally everything, because you see shit in that. Like, it's funny. Like, I was thinking of this stuff when we were watching Lost last night, where like, one of the characters is like, you made me fire that flare. The character, the black fella, Mike, like, they're on a raft. They're after building a raft and getting off the island, but they get like attacked by a small boat, and this guy's son gets fucking like kidnapped and all the thing. But basically, like, the only reason why that boat finds them is because they fired a flare, and he chooses to fire the flare because of the pressure he's feeling from his son and the other two guys on the raft. But later on, he turns around and accuses the other character, Sawyer, of making him fire the flare. And I was just sitting there and I was like, it's fascinating how like most people behave and think. I have done that. We've all done it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I've said shit over the years to various people. And it was like, yeah, well, you made me do that, like, you know. And it's like, but that's not true. Nobody can really make you do anything. Like, even if they have a collar around your neck and a gun to your head, and they're like, do this or I'll shoot. It's like, what they're doing is they're threatening you with force or death to do something. But you still have to choose. You still have free will. You still have to choose to accept that verbal contract, essentially. If you don't do this, I'm going to shoot you in the head. Person does it. It's like, all right, well, then they chose to concede. It's like, yeah, but if I didn't, he would have shot me. Yeah, but you don't know that. And like, I get why people would be like, oh, that's just fucking stupid and crazy. But it's not, though. It's like totally logical. Like, it's like totally logical. Like, it's similar to that whole thing of like, isn't there like a religious thing where it's like, if you're kidnapped and you're a prisoner of war, it's like okay to lie about your belief in Jesus, because if they say, if you're a Christian, admit to being a Christian, or die or whatever, like, you know. And then it's like, well, if I admit to being a Christian, they're gonna kill me anyway, like, kind of thing. It's like, that's a really like interesting dilemma to be in. To be like, in, like, how do you end up in a situation like that? Like, they're always like, I always found these things fascinating where it's like, oh, we've got all these homeless people, and like, what are we gonna do when people just like show up with guns and force us to do all this shit and all? It's like, I don't think that's how it works. You know, like, there's this episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine where like, your one Colonel Kira, the Bajoran rebel leader, like Kira, she's like trying to get this guy, this old dude who just will not leave his house. His house is on this planet that's going to get annihilated by the supposedly the star is going to go supernova in their solar system or whatever, like that section. Like, so he has to flee the planet, and he just won't. He just stubbornly is like, no, this is my home. If I'm gonna die because this thing is gonna happen, then that's what's gonna happen. And she does everything in her power to get him to leave, to the point where she actually burns his house down and like essentially kidnaps him. Like at the end of the episode, he's like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, if you're not going to choose to leave, then I'm going to do it for you." And like burns his house down, and fucking like is like two to beam up, and they like transport them out of there. Like, like, do you know what I mean? Like she can't get him to be like, okay, fair enough. So she just kidnaps him. Like, she chooses to like perform an action. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's the point where free will like is like in transgressed on, like, do you know what I mean, where free will is like attacked or whatever. It's fascinating to me how, like, because that's not how we get brought up, like, do you know what I mean, that's not how everything is framed and like showed to us. Is like, most people really do live in a world of intense levels of like influence. Like, your thoughts and your choices and your behavior are like heavily influenced by your environment, by other people, by like thoughts and concepts and theories, and like, that's crazy to me. When you come to that realization where you're just like, it's all just like thought, like most of it, like, it's fascinating. My Contingo mug keeps my coffee hot for around 4 to 6 hours. Yeah, I've seen these things that have like they're like a combination of like ceramic plates and like copper or whatever. Like, they're basically like fucking what you call them? Like the camping what are they called? Thermos flasks or whatever. We had a really nice one, and then the female fucking accidentally smashed the thing, and she was so upset. She was so pissed. I have my cup on a warmer with something on top of my cup. It stays hot. It's made for candles. I love seeing stuff like that where it's like you have a problem and it's like, yeah, well, like, I don't like sipping on cold coffee, so how do I keep my coffee hot? And you come up with various ways. Like, there's a whole industry, like a product. It's like how to keep your coffee hot for like most of the day. Like, it's hilarious to see how like problem solving orientated people actually are, and how like if you just let people like do stuff and invent things and create ways around things and solutions to problems, like, we can do some fucking awesome stuff, like, But then there's like products like, the first thing that came into my head there was like fidget spinners. Just this like thing that spins with 3 holes in it, and there's like different colors and stuff, and they were huge. Like, it's like, it's weird how you can just get like totally meaningless shit to be huge. And like, everyone's got one, like, especially with kids, like, do you know what I mean? Because the novelty and the uniqueness or whatever, like, But it's the same when you become an adult and you're like, you just have everyday things, and like, like, everybody's got an air fryer now, and like, everybody's got this, and like there would have been stages like that throughout history where it's like, like that stage where like everybody's got a fridge now, whereas like before that it's like, what the fuck would I need a fridge for? Like, I have a pantry where I keep everything in jars, and like we ferment our own cabbages and salt our own beef and like all this fucking shit. It's like, what the fuck do I need a fridge for? What the fuck do I need electricity for? Like, do you know what I mean? I have my wood burner, I have my fucking blah blah, like, and now it's like that really hammers home the whole, like, oh, like, dude, don't rock the boat, just like do whatever, like, fucking just get a loan, just get a job, just do this, just do that, because that's what everyone else is doing. Like, you know, it's kind of like, Jesus Christ, what a pathetic bunch of fucking, like, you know what I mean? It's like like there's moments where I look contexts and like certain viewpoints and moments where I look at like your average human being or a group of humans, and I'm just like, what a waste, what a pathetic, fucked up version of what we could potentially be, considering our like seemingly far superior like intellect in certain ways than like the creatures around us, and like the amount of resources and our understanding of this place and all. Like when you look into a lot of this esoteric shit where like, you know, like that's what I thought was interesting as well, is like the females watching this thing called Glitch. Was it The Glitch or is it just Glitch on Netflix, where it's like a lot of people, I think it's based in Australia, brought to you by the Victorian government. Fucking like, it's in Victoria in Australia, and it's cool. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you know when your missus is watching something and you're like, ugh, no, I can't even stand how those people talk. But then your missus is watching something and you're like, huh, what's that? That's all right. Because like there's like cool theories in it, but like, you know, why did they all come back, and like then it turns out to be like some kind of viral stem cell thing, and then I seen that they had cymatics in it, where one was trying to find a particular shape through finding the different frequencies and stuff, and apparently this like particular frequency is the frequency that wakes up stem cells and all this, like, and basically a lot of people from various eras, like some dude is like from like 200 or 150 years ago or some shit like that, he was like an Irish mayor of a local area at the time, they like regenerate to the age where like that they were when they died, and they just burst out of the graves and they're like totally healthy. It's pretty, like, there's some cool shit in it, like, you know, there's other shit in it where you're like, ugh, you know. But like all of this esoteric stuff of like, you know, stuff like that where it's like, you know, frequency and location, cymatics, like fucking, then you got all that like science, like experimentation, MK Ultra shit, like, you know, and then the esoteric alchemy shit is like, you know, what would be a good example of like something I've learned over the last couple of years, like fucking like quantum locking, that's alchemy. When you super cool a semiconductor, I can't remember what I think it's like. I remember reading what a semiconductor actually is. I think it's like, it's just layers and layers of a particular combination of alloys that have a certain magnetic property, and they just basically create like a hockey puck of certain alloys and metals, and when they dip that in liquid nitrogen and it super cools, it has the ability to just like levitate in place. You can change the axis and all and rotate. It's fascinating shit, like, you know, and it pretty much proves that it was totally like, if you'd have just known, like, if people did know about that, and like apparently there's like photos and like you don't know, you know, when you like, you don't know if something is fake or AI these days, like, you know, so you would want to look for like primary documents and shit, but like, I don't have the interest to like dive into every rabbit hole to that fucking extent. But I've seen images and like heard people read shit and all that, where that, like, you know, they had magna rails and like, you know, magnetic trams, and like fucking some of the cathedrals have like, you know, these like places where it's obvious that like parts have been taken out of certain like artifacts, and like, you know, the giant organs, like do you ever see those things in like old school cathedrals, the organs where like you got the plate, like the piano in the middle where you got all the keys and all, but the actual instrument itself is this fucking not monstrosity, they're quite beautiful, this like epic huge, you know, collection of all these different pipes and shit, like, and it like some of them are incredible looking, like, do you know what I mean, they're just literal works of art, but like it's not just music, do you know what I mean? Look into all the like frequency and the music shit and the fucking, what was it, the hertz, is that the fucking 432 hertz or whatever, like, do you know what I mean? And like particular harmonic resonances and particular frequencies and all these fucking things. Like people saying that like when you walked into these cathedrals, or if you were around these cathedrals, you know, with the bells they had and the organs, and basically like sending out, like that's what I do with the, like that's why I do this. And I like send out cleansing vibrations to all your ferty mortars. Um, it like to me that all of that seems like totally fucking real, and it makes total fucking sense. Like, you know, and I think that's one of the reasons I'm into like symmetrical shit, because like that's how like stuff like that works. When you look at stuff like cymatics and magnetics, anytime they're visualized, they're very symmetrical. You know, what's on the left is on the right, what's on the up is on the down, and all this shit. It all seems to be like a 360-degree pattern and stuff. Like, it's fascinating shit. Like, um, I have a Yeti cup. I've seen loads of Yeti stuff. Apparently, they're a really good brand. Keeps coffee hot about that long as well. It's great. Bought it from Black Rifle Coffee before I learned they were gay. They'd covered the logo with the sticker from the Cripples Coffee. Hilarious. That's actually hilarious. Paid away, Desmond. Black Rifle Coffee might as well be run by Justin Trudeau. I did when I paid that bipedally challenged mofo for his coffee. Yeah. So, but like, I know a lot of people like Bear Pelagic, and he's still around in the community. He seems alright, but like I don't know. I just get vibes off that nigga. Like, do you know what I mean? And the way he was acting with the whole, when the Jort Wars was going down and all, he's like, I just want everybody to be happy and all. It's like, fuck off. Like, I remember I kind of called him out on it a bit. I was like, what did I say? I was like, you should attach wheels to a fence and sit on it or something. Like, you know, fucking. Like, I could be a dick. Like, should I be like, I could be a fucking. But I don't think it's me being a dick. I think it's me just like being like, this is how it is. You're being a dickhead. Like, you know, you're being a faggot. You're being a coward. And it doesn't mean that I'm better than anyone, or that I can't be, you know, a dickhead or a fucking whatever. Like, you know, I can't recall any moment where I would like honestly look at myself and call myself a coward. I don't think I've ever like cowardice seems like such an icky thing to me. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like something I've always tried to like. I think that's why I have a problem with wrath. You know, because like my fear response is like anger. You know, like me and Stuntman were talking about. Like Owen's spoken about it before. He's like that. I think a lot of us in this community, a lot of the men in the bear community, are very similar. You know, we like manual labor. We have like an artistic side. You know, like we all look very similar. It's like hoodies, beanie, beard. You know, like guys who work in warehouses. Like, you know, that's what I used to do. I used to work in warehouses, just different types of warehouses. It was all just like manual labor shit. It was always, what was I? I was always a fucking general operative. Do you know what I mean? Gen op. It's like, nearly sounds like Gen Pop. Like, you know, it's like, and some of them did feel like, they didn't feel like prisons, but you know what I mean. It kind of has that like vibe where it's just like you're treated like shit in some companies and jobs, and it's crazy how people just everybody just puts up with it. It's like, well, what are you gonna do? It's a job. Like, they're paying you to do whatever. Like, but like, so you're gonna set aside your dignity and your self-respect and like the fact that you're a living, breathing human being because somebody will give you a paycheck. Like, that's, I always found that crazy. That's what, like, I didn't have trouble at all like getting jobs. Do you know what I mean? Jobs were a bit sparse and hard to get when I was looking for them for various reasons. But like, I did get a few, and like pretty much every single one of them I got like praise for being like a good worker. There was one where I did get a bit complacent and lazy and made a few mistakes, wasn't paying attention and shit like that. That was my own fault. But like, I always found it so fucked up how like everybody was just willing to like be dog eat dog and fucking like, there's a big difference between, you know, healthy competition and everybody trying to be the best version of themselves and so on and so forth, and then dog eat dog. It's a totally different vibe. Like the amount of people that just get stepped on and stepped over for like no other reason than I'm a get mine, fuck you, like, you know, everybody's out for themselves, like blah blah, like that utter lack of a sense of community and like helping your fellow man just because it's a good thing to do and all, like it's crazy. Like I've had people look at me like I'm a saint for holding the door open. Swear to God. I didn't notice it at first sometimes. Maybe I did. I just didn't like but like one day it just really hit me where I was like the person in question just was like thank you, like really like enthusiastically and like kind of sounds surprised, and I was like that's not the first time that's happened like in the last few years. Or like I'll just stand there holding a door open for someone like in a shop or whatever, like, and it's like somebody hasn't done that in years for them, and they probably haven't. Do you know what I mean? Like especially since COVID and all, it's like a lot of people are like still kind of just like other people, danger and all this fucking shit. Like it's crazy to me. Like it's like what I was saying at the start. It's like people have chosen to be so weak and just like, oh, I don't want to rock the boat, and you're not allowed to say that, and like, you know, I'll get in trouble and blah blah. It's like, are we still in school? Like, what the fuck? I thought the whole point of school was so that you could like grow, like, you know, grow up and learn shit and then go get a job and be an adult. And adults were like, you know, allowed to drink alcohol and fucking fuck each other and do drugs and like and all that. Like you see it in the papers all the time. Like when I was growing up, that like this politician got caught with a hooker and like doing cocaine and all. It's like they just make it blatantly obvious all the time if you're even mildly paying attention that everybody makes up all these rules and then nobody follows them. Like, you know, they may look like they're following. It's like the Santa Claus thing. It's like, so there's this big fat guy who comes down the chimney and it's like magic and elves and like blah. It's all lies. It's all lies. It's like we're working towards a better Ireland, a fairer Ireland. Our fucking, you know, policies are going to be this, this, and this. And the whole time that they're speaking and you're looking at them, you're like, these are a bunch of goblins and demons who like probably want to do like sick, horrible, seedy shit the second they get off camera. It's all bullshit. Like, it's all fucking bullshit. Like, it's crazy to me. Like, you know, you'd be looking around like when COVID happened, like, and you'd have people. I'll never forget that guy who like took his like snood thing down. Is that what they're called? They're called snoods. It's a mad word. Like it's like a scarf, but it's like a boob tube for your head and neck. Like it's just like a, you know, like a cylinder, like one of them elastic wrap things. Like, and I was making a coffee, and I wasn't wearing a mask, and like I just had this like, you know, brief but like slightly intense interaction with the Securo and the manager in the shop. This is like, you know, it kicked off like a couple of days before it, and I was like, fuck this, I'm not doing this. And it was before they asked me to stop coming to Central, and I just started going to Spar. It was so funny, like. But I was making a coffee after the interaction I had. So a load of people like heard and saw me being like, you know, I'm not wearing a mask, I can't wear one, like all these things, and then getting away with it. Like the security officer and the manager were both like, oh, okay, and like gave in because I just had that energy about me and like said the right thing, you know. And there's this huge guy, like I'm 5'11", so he must have been at least like 6'4" or something, like, you know what I mean? Huge fucker, army jacket, like camo and all with the snood and stuff. Looked like a biker or something, like, you know. And he like came over to me beside the coffee machine and like leaned down and like pulled the snood thing down. He was like, I just wear one of these, they can't say shit, and pulled it back up. And I remember just looking at him and being like, yeah, cool. Because what I wanted to say was like, you're no better. Do you know what I mean? I wanted to look at him and be like, you're no fucking better. Like, you think you're fucking like, oh, you've like figured it out, like you're cool, like, you know, I just wear one of these, it's not a mask, like, do you know what I mean? It's like, you're no better than the fucking people, like, you know, than the then like what people would call like, oh, that's Jewy, or like, you're fucking Jews. They're finding loopholes. They're being deceptive. Like, they're finding technicalities and loopholes and things, and like getting away with behaviors and all this fucking shit. You people are no better. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, well, technically, I'm not wearing one of those like mask things. Like, it's like a scarf. Like, and I don't mind wearing that. It's like, but it's the reason. It's the why though. Like, you've engaged in this behavior because you don't have the bollocks to just be like, no, fuck you. And that was one of the things I thought was so crazy, is like, how the fuck are there so few people willing to do just that? Like, all I had to do was be like, no, fuck you. And just be a bit stubborn. And be like, no, I know I'm right about this. Fuck you people. And it was crazy. It's like surviving a zombie apocalypse that, like, only a few people died in, or some shit. Like, do you know what I mean? I didn't see any violence or anything. I didn't have to like beat someone to death with a fucking baseball bat, or get bitten and infected or anything. Like, do you know what I mean? But like, it had that vibe where I was like alone, even though I was surrounded. Like, it's fucking weird. Like, it's fucking weird. It's just, I suppose I'm just kind of like ruminating and like pondering over like, what's going to happen next? Like, do you know what I mean? Where it's like, because I can see this happening, because like, if I do it in my life, then I can see people doing it as a group, where it's like people get complacent and they're like, oh, things are going to be good now, yay. And like, yeah, for a while they might be, but then the complacency and the not paying attention and the not planning ahead sets in, and then the snake fucking, constricts again. It's going to be like really interesting and weird to see like how people react to the upcoming stuff, because you'd think people will learn. Like, do you know what I mean? You're like, surely they won't fall for the next one, and they fall even harder, and you're kind of like, man, this is getting dark. Like, it's fucked. Like I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if like I agree, like I agree with Owen with the whole, like, I think the biggest conspiracy is that everything's fine. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, everything's gonna be fine, chill the fuck out. I totally agree with that. But you have to believe it. That has to be your mentality. You have to have faith. And there's a lot of people that don't. There's a lot of people that are like scared and cowardly and weak and all this fucking shit and dependent and blah blah. And it's not like I'm not, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I shop in the shop, and I like use Amazon to get all the paints and stuff. Like, it's not like it's not like I'm not dependent. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, in most ways I'm in the same boat. But because of my internal framework, I don't give off the same vibe as these people. And because I don't give off the same vibe as these people, it is like, I totally get what Owen's coming from. It's like you get like blessings and energy, and like, it's weird. It's I think that's why it's so like I'll be on a walk and I'll just be like, or I'll be getting ready to go to sleep at night, and I'll just be looking up at the ceiling. I'm like, thank you. Like, I'm like, because half of me like doesn't know where this is going, but I know that I'm going the right way. It's like weird. It's fucking weird. But anyway, obviously I'm in a rambly mood again today. You can clean up here nowadays in day labour. Just have to show up and leave once work is done and get paid for the full time. Yeah. Snood sounds better than dicky. Is that what you guys call it? Is like a little dicky? That's hilarious. I suppose it makes sense because like, it's like a fucking foreskin. That's what I should have said to him. It was like, should have been like, I don't want to look like I'm pulling my foreskin over my head. I'm good. Cheers. Oh fuck. Guys, I'm actually gonna like just head off. I'm fucking knackered, and I'm gonna have to go and get something for the dinner and stuff for later. And I want to do some work on my symmetrical. So I'm gonna love yous and leave yous. Fucking knackered, but I didn't want to not do one. You know what I mean? At least I sat here for an hour and fucking gave yous like some form of entertainment or something to listen to. That's not like brainwashing you or trying to fucking convince you that you're fucking a bigot or some shit like that. Like, But yeah, I've only got so much energy in the tank today, and I want to use it being as productive as possible. So I'm gonna try and do other stuff. Um, I know you will. I know you. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back. Fucking. I don't know when Defenderoo is coming back from his holiday. Part of me is enjoying just being me, for a while. But part of me already misses being Defenderoo. So I'm gonna leave it till like I really wanna be him again. I think that's the way to do it. Like, because I definitely don't want to end up in this mindset of like I don't like doing it anymore because I'm sick of doing it. Like, but I think that like I think it's definitely a good sign that like I already had the thought earlier on, whereas like part of me wanted to get dressed and be like, hello, welcome to, like, part of me already kind of misses it, like. So who knows, he might be back tomorrow. And in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed the ramblings of some Irish ginger, and I'll see you tomorrow. God bless all yous. Thanks for showing up.